Ruinous Raven. Raven's luck. The Whiskerton family lived in the cozy attic of the old Baker mansion on Elm Street. Mrs. Whiskerton, a proud tabby with emerald eyes, had given birth to 5 kittens in early spring, 4 with her distinctive tabby pattern, and 1, the smallest of the litter, as black as midnight. His coal-black fur absorbed light rather than reflected it, and his amber eyes shone with curiosity. What shall we name this little one? Mr. Whiskerton, a large orange tomcat, purred as he nuzzled the tiny black kitten. Raven, Mrs. Whiskerton decided, for his sleek black coat. The name suited him perfectly. As the weeks passed, Raven grew alongside his siblings, Patch, Marmalade, Whiskers, and Mittens. While they inherited their mother's agility or their father's confidence, Raven seemed different, quieter, more observant, always watching from the shadows with those intelligent amber eyes. It started with small things. The day after Raven was born, a leak appeared in the attic roof directly above the kitten's bed, forcing Mrs. Whiskerton to relocate her litter to a less comfortable corner. When Raven took his first steps, he knocked over a small vase that had been perched on a shelf for years, shattering the baker's family heirloom. Just coincidences, Mr. Whiskerton assured his wife when she expressed concern. But the incidents continued. When Raven began exploring the house at 6 weeks old, the Baker family's youngest child developed a mysterious allergy. The day Raven caught his first mouse, the baker's dog was scolded for tearing up a pillow that Raven had actually clawed apart while practicing his hunting skills. "The black one brings misfortune," whispered the neighborhood cats when they thought no one from the Whiskerton family could hear. Black cats always do. Mrs. Whiskerton defended her son fiercely, but privately she worried. By the time the kittens were 3 months old, the pattern was undeniable. If something could go wrong around Raven, it invariably did. "Perhaps there's truth to the human superstitions," Mrs. Whiskerton confided to her mate one evening as they watched their kittens play. Raven had just knocked over a lamp which had fallen on the baker's child's homework, which had resulted in the child being reprimanded at school. Mr. Whiskerton flicked his tail dismissively. "Nonsense. Humans create stories to explain what they don't understand. Our son is simply exploring his world." But even Mr. Whiskerton couldn't ignore what happened next. The Whiskerton family had established a comfortable routine in the Baker household. The Bakers left for work and school each morning, giving the cats free rein of the house until evening. But one morning, as Raven practiced pouncing near an antique clock, he misjudged his landing and sent the clock crashing to the floor. The noise startled Mrs. Baker, who had stayed home sick that day, a fact the Whiskertons hadn't realized. Discovering the broken family heirloom and seeing Raven nearby, Mrs. Baker made a decision that would change everything. "The black cat has to go," Mrs. Baker declared to her family that evening. "He's nothing but trouble." The Whiskertons, hidden beneath the sofa, listened in horror as Mrs. Baker explained her plan to take Raven to an animal shelter the next morning. "We have to leave," Mrs. Whiskerton said, gathering her kittens close. "All of us. We cannot let them take Raven." "But Mother," protested Marmalade, "why should we all suffer because of Raven's bad luck?" Mrs. Whiskerton's eyes flashed. "We are a family. We stay together." That night, as the Baker household slept, the Whiskerton family slipped out through a loose screen in the attic window. Mr. Whiskerton led the way, followed by Patch, Marmalade, and Whiskers. Mrs. Whiskerton carried Mittens, who was still the most timid. Raven brought up the rear, his black fur making him nearly invisible in the darkness. The world outside the Baker mansion was vast and intimidating. The kittens had never ventured beyond the garden, and now they were navigating unfamiliar streets, ducking into alleys when cars approached, avoiding dogs and hostile strays. "Where will we go?" asked Whiskers, the most practical of the litter. "I know a place," Mr. Whiskerton replied. An old boathouse by the river. I explored it in my younger days. Their journey was difficult. Rain began to fall, making their fur heavy and their steps slow. They had to hide from a roaming pack of neighborhood dogs. Food was scarce, and at every unfortunate turn, the siblings cast accusing glances at Raven. "It's his fault we had to leave our warm home," Marmalade complained after they'd been forced to shelter under a leaky cardboard box during a downpour. "His bad luck is following us," Patch agreed when they discovered the shortcut Mr. Whiskerton had planned to take was blocked by construction. Raven hung his head, keeping his distance from his siblings, his amber eyes clouded with misery. He knew they were right. He had tried so hard to be careful, to be good, but misfortune seemed to follow him like a shadow. After 3 exhausting days, the bedraggled family finally reached the boathouse. It was old and weathered, but dry inside, with plenty of nooks for hiding and soft piles of forgotten fishing nets for beds. "This will be our new home," Mrs. Whiskerton announced, trying to sound cheerful for her kitten's sake. The boathouse offered shelter, but little else. Food was a constant challenge, especially with 5 growing kittens to feed. Mr. and Mrs. Whiskerton took turns hunting, but the pickings were slim along the riverbank. One evening, about a week after they'd settled into the boathouse, Raven overheard his parents talking in hushed tones. "The kittens are hungry," Mrs. Whiskerton was saying, "and I fear Mittens is developing a cough." "I'll try the docks tomorrow," Mr. Whiskerton replied. "There might be fish scraps from the boats." Raven slipped away silently, his heart heavy. He knew what had to be done. As his family slept, he crept out of the boathouse and disappeared into the night. "I'll make my own way," he resolved. "They'll be better off without my bad luck." Raven wandered for hours, unsure of his destination, but determined to put distance between himself and his family. Dawn found him in an unfamiliar part of town, his paws sore and his stomach empty. He was considering trying to hunt, though his hunting lessons had been cut short by their sudden departure, when he caught the scent of something delicious. Following his nose, he found himself behind a small restaurant. A chef was taking out garbage, and beside the dumpster he had placed a small bowl. "Here, kitty," the chef called softly. "I see you lurking there. Come get some breakfast." Raven hesitated. Humans had always seemed dangerous and unpredictable, but hunger overcame his caution. He approached warily and discovered the bowl contained fish scraps, more food than he'd seen in days. As he ate, the chef watched him with kind eyes. "A black cat, eh? You know, in many cultures, black cats are considered lucky. My grandmother always said a black cat crossing your path was a blessing, not a curse." Raven paused his eating to look up at the human, surprised by this information. The chef reached down slowly and, when Raven didn't flee, gently stroked his head. "You're welcome to come back tomorrow," the chef said. "I always have scraps for a lucky black cat." True to his word, the chef left food for Raven the next day, and the day after that. Raven began to regain his strength and even put on weight, but his thoughts constantly returned to his family. Were they finding enough food? Was Mitten's cough better? Did they miss him at all, or were they relieved that his bad luck had departed with him? After 2 weeks on his own, Raven made a decision. He would return to the boathouse, not to stay, but to check on his family. If they were thriving without him, he would leave again, content in the knowledge that his sacrifice had improved their lives. The journey back was easier now that he knew the way and had a full belly. As he approached the boathouse, however, he heard distressed mewing. Rushing inside, he found his family huddled together, thinner than when he'd left them. Mittens was indeed coughing, and Mrs. Whiskerton looked exhausted. "Raven," she cried when she saw him. "Oh, my precious kitten, we thought we'd lost you forever." To Raven's surprise, his entire family surrounded him, purring and nuzzling him as if he were a long-lost treasure rather than a bearer of bad luck. But, "Aren't you better off without me?" Raven asked, confused. "Without my bad luck." "Bad luck?" Mr. Whiskerton repeated. "Son, our luck has been terrible since you left. The river flooded and nearly washed away the boathouse. The fish have been scarce, and Mitten's cough grows worse by the day." "We need you, Raven," Mrs. Whiskerton said softly. "You're a part of our family." Raven's heart swelled with love for his family, but he remained practical. "I found a place where food is plentiful," he told them. "A kind human who leaves fish scraps. I could bring some back for everyone." And so began Raven's new role as provider for his family. Each morning he would journey to the restaurant where the chef waited with a bowl of scraps. Sometimes he would even receive a bonus treat, a bit of chicken or beef, which he would carefully carry back to share with his siblings and parents. The chef noticed that Raven always took most of the food with him rather than eating it all himself. Curious, he followed Raven one day, discovering the black cat's family in the old boathouse. "Well, well," the chef said, surprising the Whiskertons, who arched their backs in alarm. "So this is why you've been carting off all that food. You have a family to feed." To everyone's astonishment, particularly Raven's, the chef began visiting the boathouse regularly, bringing food for all the cats. He treated Mitten's cough with medicine from a veterinarian friend, and even repaired the boathouse roof to better protect them from the elements. "My lucky black cat has brought me new friends," the chef would say, scratching Raven behind the ears. "And I could use some good mousers at the restaurant. What do you say we make this arrangement official?" By summer's end, the Whiskerton family had moved into the chef's cozy apartment above his restaurant. The kittens, now nearly grown, earned their keep by keeping the restaurant free of mice and entertaining the customers with their antics. Mitten's cough had disappeared entirely, and all 5 young cats were sleek and healthy. And Raven, the once unlucky black kitten, had become the chef's special favorite. He was allowed in the kitchen, a privilege denied his siblings due to their tendency to get underfoot, where he sat regally on a special stool, watching the chef work. Customers considered it good luck to have their meals prepared under Raven's watchful gaze, and the restaurant's popularity soared. "I told you black cats were lucky," the chef would tell his customers as Raven preened on his stool. "This one brought 7 good cats into my life and doubled my business." Word spread about the lucky black cat at Chef Antonio's restaurant. People came from all over town to see Raven and, they hoped, have some of his good fortune rub off on them. Some even brought small tributes, a ribbon, a toy mouse, a bit of premium catnip, all of which Raven graciously accepted. Mr. and Mrs. Whiskerton watched their once ostracized son with pride as he basked in his newfound status. Perhaps it wasn't bad luck that followed him, Mrs. Whiskerton mused one evening as they watched Raven charm an elderly customer who had come specifically to meet him. Perhaps it was simply that his luck needed time to mature, like fine wine. "Or perhaps," Mr. Whiskerton replied wisely, "luck isn't something that follows us at all, but something we create through our choices and actions." Raven had certainly made choices that changed not only his fate, but that of his entire family. His decision to leave to protect them, his discovery of the chef, his faithfulness in returning with food, all these actions had led them to a better life than they could have imagined in the Baker Mansion's attic. As for Raven himself, he never forgot the days when he'd believed himself cursed with bad luck. That memory made his current good fortune all the sweeter, and it gave him compassion for other strays and outcasts. He often convinced Chef Antonio to leave extra bowls of food in the alley, ensuring that no hungry cat in the neighborhood went without a meal. And on quiet evenings, when the restaurant was closed and the family relaxed in the apartment above, Raven would sometimes slip away to sit on the fire escape, his black fur blending with the night as he gazed at the stars. In those moments, he would reflect on his journey, from the feared bringer of misfortune to the celebrated harbinger of luck. Perhaps, he thought, as the stars winked above him like distant amber eyes, luck wasn't something you were born with or without. Perhaps luck was simply the willingness to keep moving forward, to care for others, and to believe that each new day brought fresh possibilities. And in that belief, Raven had become the luckiest